Oh, it's my great pleasure to be here and share my thoughts. Today, we already heard a lot of great talks about how AI is changing the world. As a matter of fact, artificial intelligence is already surpassing human intelligence in many ways, and many jobs which we thought that are reserved for highly educated people will be reduced or even replaced by AI. So what does that mean? What's left for us human beings to do? Do we just sit there and get fed by machines like we saw in the movies? Or is there something that truly makes us different as human beings? And I would argue that something is creativity, the ability to create something new and meaningful. On the other hand, technology should never be seen as an enemy to creativity. Instead, we should be inventing technologies, especially AI technologies, to help everyone to be more creative, especially considering that in the future, the creativity is probably going to be the most important thing in educating our next generation, because that's what they will need in the future when AI takes care of a lot of other things. So that is exactly what I and my team at WonderPainter does. We are a startup company that's focusing on creating technologies to help everyone become more creative. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone, not just people who are already familiar with technologies. So I'll start with one example of our technology. Just take any pen and draw anything you can think about on a piece of paper, on a drawing board, whatever. And once you're finished, you take a photo of it. It becomes alive. It turns into a lovely 3D animation. Of course, this is not magic. There's a lot of AI technology happening behind. Computer vision, computer graphics, machine learning, you name it, that tries to understand your drawing, understand your intention, build a 3D model out of it, and give the most proper animation based on it. And there's no constraint in what you can create. As you can see here, I can be drawing all kinds of different things, and the algorithm will understand it and give the most proper output. It can almost take anything around you as the input. You already saw drawing, clay, toys, even real people, which I'll show you a little bit later. All right. So I'm trying to use this example to explain a little bit of our philosophy, how we can invent technology to boost creativity. I'll start with a 10-second Chinese lesson. The Chinese word for creativity is called 创造. It's actually made of two words, 创 and 造, where 创 means coming up with new ideas, and 造 means making it into reality. I think that's a pretty good explanation of what creativity actually is. It's idea plus make, right? So how can technology help with both of those? Starting with ideas. Where do I get ideas? We need inspiration, right? And what inspires us more than the world around us? The world is infinite. All the elements there, they're keeping give us new sources for inspiration and ideas. And as you saw in the video, our technology actually automatically takes in a lot of different things around you, which I'll show you even more example later, and use them as the element for your creation. And by doing that, you'll never be out of ideas because you can keep using whatever sources out there in the world and use them in your creation. So now we have the ideas. But even when we have good ideas, most of the time we are still afraid of making it into reality because we don't have the right training. We don't have the right skills. For example, most of us have never learned how to use a 3D modeling software or animation software, et cetera, et cetera. So in order to remove that barrier for making, our technology tries to allow you to express your ideas in ways you're already familiar with. For example, doodling. We've all been doing that since we were little kids. And then the technology will try to interpret that, transform it into something much more appealing, some form that looks more professional, something that you're willing to share with others as your own creation. So, more ideas and easier making. So that's how we can create technologies to boost everyone's creativity. And in addition to being an integral part of educating our next generations, creative technology can be also used for education. And here is one example how Wonder Printer technology you just saw is used as an interactive media form to convey content for English learning. So instead of just sitting there and watching an English cartoon passively, in this story, every character is created by the viewer themselves. So I'll play it for a bit and comment later.
Keep him dry. Oh no, this place is getting flooded. Who can help him? Thank you for saving my life. Let's keep moving. He sees a land ahead. That's a bit too high. Draw a bird to pick him up. Great. Where is our next destination? Create it yourself.
So the same story for 100 different viewers become 100 different stories. And even when you play it multiple times, every time you have a different story because every time you can create different things for it. And by doing that, the education content becomes a lot more engaging and a lot more personal. And the content really get into the viewer's mind. And it's not just limited to drawings and animations. And as I promised, here is an example. We can actually turn yourself into the protagonist of a realistic video. Let's see. So obviously, that's only one example of many, many different scenarios where you can turn yourself into a scenario that you can probably never do in the real life. And in addition to media presentation, you can also turn any game into a personal and creative experience by letting you create a game hero out of anything you can find or make around you. For example, this little robot warrior. Once I made it, snap a photo, it becomes something I can control with my own hand. It works both in 2D and 3D environments. And by doing so, gaming is no longer only an entertainment experience, but also takes on a creativity and personal hint. It works with real people as well. Now, who doesn't want to be as awesome as her? Okay, so I guess by now you get the idea that creative technologies can really be used to empower really any industry that benefits from presenting the content in a more interactive way, especially because when you combine your idea with your audience's own creativity, your content is delivered in a much more compelling and much more personal manner. And this includes, obviously, education is one of the most important thing we can benefit from it, but also media, entertainment, marketing, etc., etc., etc. It can be done in a dedicated product, in software, or it can be done in the web page, in Facebook, etc., etc., such as in an online environment. And here, I'm just showing one example of how we are empowering a smart TV experience. This is LG in Korea. They created this smart TV interactive storytelling experience where the kids can make the story characters on their phone, either by scribbling or by taking photo of their family members and see the result on the TV screen. And in doing so, they're learning things like English, things like traditional culture, etc., etc. And these are obviously based on content that are created by the educators themselves. By using a special tool, you can literally create any storyline to be experienced for the audience in this way. So here you're basically design the storyline you want to present, and when it's presented in front of the audience, the technology takes care of the rest in giving life of the viewer's own creation and using those to perform the content you want to deliver. And obviously, this can be in combination with any existing animation or video or content you already have. And this creation, this design experience is not only reserved for professional designers. It can also be used by literally anyone. So here is a light version for it, where you can just snap a photo of something and use your fingers to do a little puppet show and record the motion and your voice, etc., into an animation, and later use it for whatever purpose you want. Okay. So, I'd like to end my talk with a call for participation to really anyone who wants to get your content across in this new way by combining your idea and your audience creativity. Whether you're a teacher who wants a more interactive class experience, a media producer who wants to tell a story in a more compelling way, a game developer who wants a unique game experience, or if you're an independent artist, you want to create your next masterpiece in this new form. Because when your idea is combined with your audience creativity, everyone wins. And my prediction is that when everyone's creativity is set free by technology, that's the best future we will have. Thank you.